Welcome to Merida and to Boldr.
Thank you.
Greg. So Greg Collins joined us as the VP of Revenue like 5 days ago, right?
Yeah, yes.
Day 5.
Yeah, day 5.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit today to get to know you better so
Wonderful.
that the team and our partners and our community can get to know a little bit more about our leaders.
Fun.
Yay, thank you for being here.
Oh, honor's mine. Thank you.
How would you describe yourself, personally or professionally, in like 3 words? Or what 3 words would you use to describe your personal story?
I think the first word I'd use is grace.
Grace. All right.
Grace. I have been shown grace through my entire life. The idea of being given something you cannot earn out of generosity and kindness. So grace would be the first word. I've been very. My life has been full of grace. The second I would say is laughter. I grew up in a house that was very silly. A lot of fun. Dinners had games. There was game night. There were a lot of cards. A lot of books were read together. So there's just a lot of laughter and silliness, which was a lot of fun.
I love that.
And then I wish you asked me for 2. A third I would have to say is lucky.
Lucky, all right.
Lucky. Many times, much like this wonderful opportunity to serve at Boldr, there's an element of luck that I met you, that I met David, that I met Deborah, and throughout my experiences in life that I had the opportunity to serve here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So grace, silly laughter, and lucky.
So other than coming here to Merida this week, what is one of the most interesting places you've traveled to, and what did you learn from that experience?
Been blessed to travel for work and pleasure. That was a 2-parter. That was interesting and learned. Oh, if it was just straight up interesting, Marrakesh.
Oh, wow.
Marrakesh was very interesting and culture shock for a Midwestern boy.
Yeah.
But I would say the most interesting would be Venice.
Okay.
My partner, Lori, and I went to Venice, and she taught me something wonderful, which is when we travel abroad, she will set up and hire someone with an art history background to do a walking tour of the city.
That's amazing.
So we stayed in Santa Croce, which is not in the touristy part, but more the residential part.
Yeah.
And then just walked with someone who grew up second generation there that taught us about the city, and to be immersed in the history and culture and art of the city just changes it dramatically.
So what is something about yourself that most people are surprised to learn?
I'm an introvert.
Oh, okay.
Most people are surprised to learn that, given that I have extrovert skills.
Yeah.
And my occupation has always been in extrovert roles. But when I need to recharge, when my battery is low, I need to pull away. Read a book, find a quiet place. I very much enjoy people, but yeah, at the end of the day, I got to charge back up.
You mentioned reading books as one of the ways you recharge.
Yes.
What are you currently reading or listening to?
I have been plowing my way through a series of 3 large books, so they kind of come and go. They're called The Mental Models by...
Mental Models.
Oh, it's Farnham Street.
Okay.
And his name eludes me at the moment, but he's in essence taken the best of what others have learned in their craft and breaks it down into frameworks or mental models that you can apply to problems and decisions.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating books.
Yeah.
But those are a little more heady. I just finished 2 great books, one by Sunil Gupta, and I'm going to forget the name of it. Everyday Dharma.
Everyday Dharma.
Everyday Dharma, which is really interesting, talking about life's purpose and work. He makes an interesting parallel between the difference of role and goal.
Okay.
Or excellence and success.
Okay.
So my role will be as VP of Revenue serving at Boldr.
Right.
My goal is the things I need to achieve.
Right.
And he talks about success being achieving the goal, but it's really the experience and applying excellence to your role that drives satisfaction. So that was an interesting book. And then my wife put me on to a really interesting book called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Oh my God, that's such a good book.
You've read that book. Phenomenal.
So what is a a hobby or a passion for you outside of work?
Oh,
Other than reading.
other than
You're already
reading.
sharing.
I don't have any consistent hobbies. I get curious and I play with things and I get bored and I go to something else. So
It's the latest.
I just finished my origami phase.
Ooh, did you make a crane?
Yes. Actually, what I found to be a lot of fun is I just love making little boxes and containers and then giving them as gifts.
Yeah.
So I did that for one of my daughters, which was fun. But that's just fun. I cannot draw in any form or fashion. I'm pretty good at stick figures.
Yeah.
But I do a little bit of that and separate myself from the results and just enjoy the drawing.
Yeah.
But I would say just kind of one of my favorite things, which isn't a hobby, but when I think about hobbies, things that you enjoy doing that release stress or bring you joy. I love baking and I enjoy cooking. I'm not good at either, but I'm good enough that the results I'll eat.
Is there a quote or a mantra that is like important to you in your life that you live your life by?
You know, it's by an author named Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
The book, A Search for Man's Meaning. So I can't quote it, but the concept was pursue versus ensue. Are you familiar with that?
Not the quote. I know the book and I know the story, but not the quote specifically.
I'm reticent to paraphrase it just because it's such a phenomenal concept and work. The idea is that you can't pursue wonderful, great things. They have to ensue.
Okay.
And so a simple example would be love.
Yeah.
You can't pursue love,
Right.
but you pursue the things that lead to
Right.
love. It's all those nice things that you do. And I think it's such an interesting model. Maybe it gets back to talking about the book of Everyday Dharma, where we talk about those concepts. But the role versus the goal is really the focus. So I often think about that concept, even though you asked for a quote.
I feel very connected to our Filipino community who really enjoy singing and karaoke.
Wow.
We're not going to ask you to sing unless you feel inspired to.
Yeah, the inspiration's not coming, but please continue.
But if you were to pick a song or a soundtrack to your life, like,
Yeah.
what would it be and why?
There is a song that just, if it plays, I don't care what's going on, it will make me happy.
Oh, I love
The
that.
lyrics are funny, yet inspirational.
Okay.
And then just, it's got a good groove. And it's Lee Dorsey, everything I'm gonna do, it's gonna be funky.
Everything I'm going to do, going to be
It's
funky.
gonna be funky.
That sounds amazing.
Lee Dorsey, go look it up. They'll make you happy.
What is one of the most unusual jobs you've had?
I don't have any good fun ones here.
No.
Oh, no.
What was your first job?
My first job, fizz plant, like cleaning up landscaping.
Okay.
There was a carpet company who could never manage to get their carpet into the large dumpster, so it inevitably would rain. Wet carpet, that's fun to move.
With carpet.
Fizz plant, odd jobs, lawn care, restaurant work.
Yeah.
I bartended once.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that. But I did not get fired, so that's amazing. They had low bar standards. Just a lot of everyday kind of your normal jobs.
What has been a pivotal moment in your career?
A pivotal moment in my career. My first sales job. So I started in nonprofit business administration. So I was working there, and I had a friend that was in sales, and a large company. They had thousands of sales reps. You're just one of a number. Very, very strict and whatnot. Very easy to get fired if you didn't hit very specific numbers.
Yeah.
But it was a great training program, and they did a lot of education on how to do sales. And he kind of talked me into it, even though I didn't want to go into sales because I like myself. Why would I want to be one of those salespeople?
Yeah. Right.
And I found I was pretty successful at it. It came to me naturally on working with people, just kind of my upbringing, working with people, solving challenges and whatnot. But it was really forced upon me all these different tactics and techniques of how you sell. And I didn't like it. I wasn't proud when people would ask me what I did or where I worked, even though I was successful financially. And so I kind of had my Jerry Maguire moment at that. So I didn't stand up and quit, but there were you had all these different certifications you could get, and they gave you all these plaques and all your binders and materials. And I just kind of got frustrated with how hollow I felt, even though how successful I was. And so my Jerry Maguire moment, I took it off my desk and I put it in the. I mean, the desk is this big, and you're just in a line with all these other people. It's really not an impressive office or anything. But I threw it in the trash, and I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm just done with the tactics and the tricks and the strategies. I'm just gonna, if I can help you, great. If not, I'll send you to someone who can. I don't even care if they're a competitor. Can I be of service? Back to that idea we've been talking about. So it doesn't sound nearly as dramatic to talk about it as it felt in the moment. But it was a pivotal moment decades ago, but early into my sales career, where I realized there's great honor in sales when its intention and purpose is to serve and solve problems, versus hit a number. And a lot of times the perceptions people have, and unfortunately there's a cohort of salespeople that are worried about the number, but there's a lot of people that just want to be able to help and solve problems. And so that was a kind of a pivotal moment for me, which then led me into coaching others, which is really what I love about being in sales leadership. It's about helping others on your team be successful as a group versus yourself.
What advice would you give to people who are interested in joining a sales organization, revenue organization, or business development?
Yeah, that's a tough one. What advice? I think there are so many different strategies. Sales is a multifaceted discipline. It requires continuous education and study on a lot of facets. But I think the overarching thing that would be important to remember if you wanted to go into sales is that it's not about you. I always had connotations of salespeople as being type A, super competitive. They're coin operated, right? Give them a quota and they make commission. They're coin operated. They're type A, go, go, go. And while certainly there are people in sales that are like that, like any profession, I think it's an unfair stereotype. I think those people can be very successful. I think you could be like me. I'm not like that and be successful. So I think the advice I would give someone who's considering sales is ask if you enjoy collaborative environments where your job is to be of service to solve a problem. It's problem decomposition, it's collaboration, it's a lot of hours, it's a lot of work. So if your desired output is simply income, I think you'll find it to be a miserable occupation.
Right.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
So I guess that was a long-winded thought out loud. I guess if I had to put a little bow on it, I would say if you like collaborating with others and being of service to solve complicated problems, you like puzzles in a team environment, sales is a lot of fun and very rewarding.
What inspired you to join Boldr?
When I started looking a while ago for my next opportunity, I think I talked to David. When I talked to David first, I mentioned this. I wasn't pursuing a particular industry. I wasn't pursuing a particular title or remit or role or responsibility. I was pursuing an environment. And I think I found my people, I found my tribe, I found my home. It is, I was when I was doing that, this is one of the things I drew. I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but I love Venn diagrams. And it's this Venn diagram of kindness, which we've been talking about, gratitude, and then I've been going back and forth between this pursue and ensue, or this concept of success and excellence, role versus goal. And what I found in Boldr from every person I've talked to, it's not a brand, it's an ethos. Like it exists, and I'm excited to be part of it, is this Venn diagram of creating client and social impact. And how do you not get excited about that?
Now that you're here, what are you most excited about in terms of leading the revenue team in Boldr? What are you looking forward to here?
Sales is a team sport, and this is a really collaborative environment. So that's one thing. I don't believe a leader's role is to have the answer. It's to help facilitate and execute that. And again, team sport. So I love that. That's one thing I'm really excited about this team. Another thing about sales is I don't believe that sales generates revenue. I believe client impact generates revenue. It is by providing continuous, reoccurring positive client impact that generates awareness and excitement to work with you. Hey, we can help solve problems consistently in a great way.
Right.
And so a sales organization is responsible to help capture that revenue by serving others. And talk about raving fans. I mean, like, they're not just cool case studies on the website.
Yeah.
Boldr clients are fired up to be partners. And that is something special. As a revenue leader, it's hard to find a company whose clients are like, I love working with Boldr. That's a thing. And then another just theme is I love that pronoun. I get to say we now as part of Boldr. We don't sell widgets.
Nope.
We don't sell another mousetrap. We're providing client impact, social impact. We're connecting opportunity. So earlier today, you asked me to kind of like describe myself in 3 words. And one, as I said, was lucky.
Yeah.
I'm aware of how lucky I am to be born where I was, to the family I was, in the community I was, to have the educational opportunities I have. Yeah. I was given a fantastic head start. Yeah. So this idea of spending my hours working with others to connect opportunity to others.
Talent, yeah.
Oh, more goosebumps. What a blessing to be part of something like that.
One last question that I have for you is, in the interview process, you asked many good questions, so thank you. One of the questions that I wanted to just dig into a little bit in terms of context is you were pretty curious about whether we have any outside investors in Boldr. And I noticed you even followed up when we got to to make sure and get proof of whether who's on the cap table and who's invested in this company. Can you talk to why that's important to you?
Why is that important? I wanted to understand who is influencing us when something is hard.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's very well described. It makes me think like there was a meme or a little video on social media at one time about choose your hard, right? And it was very much within personal context, but it makes me think of that. It's like it's being married is hard, being divorced is hard. Choose your hard, right? And so I think it's kind of like that. Like being self-funded is hard. Working with an outside investor could be hard. Like choose your hard, right? Thank you for adding that layer of depth of visibility of why that is meaningful and how it influences decisions that get made in the business. Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. We're so happy to have you here.
Oh, I am honored and blessed. Thank you kindly.